This Israel report is brought to you by the Blue Agency. Your Israel property is in good hands. Owning properties in Israel can be a great investment, but challenging to manage if you're based abroad. The Blue Agency will manage every aspect of your property, finding and vetting tenants, maintaining your property and getting it rental ready, negotiating contracts and collecting rentals, reporting back to you regularly. The Blue Agency has built a reputation for trust and confidentiality over 20 years. The Blue Agency, your Israel property is in good hands. Contact us at www.theblueagency.com.
It is 7:44. This morning's Israel report brought to you by Yigal Marcus, who is the director at Republicans Overseas. Yigal, a very good morning to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining us. Can we start, if you don't mind, with an update on the US-Iran progress? Because I have no idea where we are with this.
It makes two of us, and it probably makes
most
a lot
of
more
us.
than just two of us, because we're getting such conflicting reports right now. Trump says we're on the cusp of world peace, and Iran says I have no idea who the United States are. I haven't spoken to them. Wouldn't know them if I knocked them in the street. So it's a problem. And more importantly, is that yesterday we had 4 different ships that were attacked by the IRGC. And so the IRGC is continuing to play President Trump. And it's very unclear what is really going on. America is saying that we're on the cusp of a deal, and the Iranians saying we have no idea what they're talking about. There is no deal. And by the way, we're going to keep attacking ships. And America is saying, well, we're going to keep attacking. We're going to keep the blockade on. So we don't really know what it is. What it is very frustrating, and frankly, it's probably exhausting for you and your listeners, and for most people around the world. We don't know what to believe anymore, and a lot of these reports coming out about American armaments, which we have no idea if they're true or not. So it's a little bit of a mess right now. And the one thing that I do know is that the Iranians love to do this, love to start and stop and keep everybody on their feet, even though they're very, very weak. And President Trump right now, obviously is continuing to give them a chance, even though he called them duplicitous and awful. So we'll see what happens, but certainly nothing, there really is no clarity about what is really happening or what will happen.
Do we know if the negotiations, because they were meant to start talking properly on Monday, do we have any indication as to if this happened or not?
Well, what's happening is that Iranians are speaking to Oman, and Oman are a bunch of dopes in the sense that they absolutely, they don't know what is coming and going. What they do know is that they share the Straits of Hormuz with Iran, and are so afraid of Iran that they're willing to do and say anything. But then, of course, they're also afraid of America. So what's happening is that the Iranians are speaking to Oman and saying, you know what, let's get together. Let's charge fees for all the ships coming through and through the Straits of Hormuz, which, of course, is unacceptable to the international community. And Oman is telling them, sure, that sounds like a great idea. And then, of course, turning to the U.S. and saying, well, we'll never do that. We'll ensure a free rite of passage. So there, too, we really don't know what is going to happen. I think this is another strategic pause in this war, and there's no trusting the IRGC and the current Iranian leadership. The Iranian leadership are puppets. They are weak, and they are completely subservient to the IRGC. So I think until the IRGC is humbled or eliminated, hopefully preferably the latter, we're going to have this stalemate and it going back and forth. The question really becomes at what point it escalates to a point of where, hopefully we can bring them to their feet. And that's always the big question.
What's fascinating to me, and I wonder what you make of it, is that we've had a number of rounds of negotiations, supposedly, with Iran. One of them was Qatar. One of them is Pakistan. Now it's Doha. What do we make of the fact that I'm not even sure if maybe Turkey was in the mix somewhere, but I can't say that for certain. What do we make of the fact that this seems to be there seems to be a revolving door policy on who is representing Iran and who's getting involved?
Yeah, I know. I think Jamaica's up next, by the way. We have a couple of other volunteer nations behind that,
Yeah.
including Micronesia. They
Right,
really
maybe
want to
South
line up
Africa,
and
but I
host these
don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's you have countries that have tried to help, at least in their mind, trying to help, but in reality, what's happening is that they're countries who are trying to play both sides of the card. They're trying to curry favor with the U.S., but they're also trying to curry favor with Iran because nobody really knows who's going to come out stronger, or emboldened, or who's going to win this thing. And so countries are trying to bring the parties together. But are they really? I mean, the U.S. has had very, very clear demands from day one: no nuclear weapons, free passageway through the Straits of Hormuz, and of course, stopping the funding of their proxies. And the Iranians have said no to everything, and so, including, by the way, the nuclear question. So it's simply, you're right. It is musical chairs. You're going to have a whole bunch of countries trying to negotiate this deal, but I doubt they're going to be successful, except what they will do is kind of boost the tourism to the various nation capitals that they're going to be hosting those things in, including Rome this week and others. So it's a little bit nuts, but we'll see what happens.
Let's talk about what is happening in Gaza. Hamas spokesperson Ghazi Hamad has now avoided committing to disarmament. I thought this was agreed.
Well, it was agreed amongst the Board of Peace. Hamas is not going to disarm. They can't, and so this is a little bit of a joke. Us trusting Hamas to do anything or to commit to anything is ridiculous, of course, and certainly Israel's not going to withdraw 1 inch until they are disarmed, which means that Israel's not going to withdraw 1 inch because they're never going to disarm. That they will never admit defeat. So we're at a stalemate there as well. They can, the Board of Peace can come in and make all sorts of declarations and all sorts of deals, but without the people on the street agreeing to it, and Hamas, and it's certainly not Israel, who were not privy to those conversations. I think they're going nowhere very fast. So we'll see what happens there as well. But I doubt we're looking at a real deal here. I think we're just getting more of the same. In the meantime, Israel is going through the 60% of the Gazan territory inch by inch to try to destroy any remnant terrorist facilities and tunnels and infrastructure, so that in case at some point there is a deal and they do withdraw, they know that the area that they currently control and have been controlling for a year will hopefully be free of any of these terror infrastructure.
Is there any sense of what the level of arms and ammunition Hamas actually has?
There are conflicting reports, but I think most people, including Israel, believe that they have been able to smuggle arms in through the Egyptian border, which is why, by the way, Israel wanted to control it. But the Board of Peace is okay with them rearming. Now, to the extent to which they could do that is a bit unknown. But the sense is they've been able to, smuggle weapons in. I don't know that includes rockets as much as it includes light arms and long guns. But we're going to see. Obviously, we're going to see that. But there are indications that they are, to a certain extent, trying to rearm. And Israel's doing its best to try to avoid it, but we gave the Board of Peace its border with Egypt.
So I wasn't clear on that. So that does clarify it for me, because I was wondering how they would have rearmed, given the fact that Israel has surrounded most of Gaza. But you're saying, is it the Rafah crossing that with Egypt?
It's the crossings.
Yeah,
it's the crossings. Israel has found a bunch of weapons, but more importantly is that they have drones, and the drones are very hard to shoot down or stop. But there've been a lot of drones. When I say a lot, I mean tens, if not more, of drones per day and attempts per day. So Israel can certainly stop a certain percentage of that, maybe even a high percentage of that. But if you get in, successfully 10 drones a day that are with weapons, you can, over the course of the last year, you can rearm, and that's what's pretty scary about this.
Wow, the drone thing has become a relatively it's a relatively new problem. We've seen this in Lebanon, that it's caused tremendous difficulty for the IDF there. If we think back to October 7th, I don't think there was any use of drones then, which is interesting.
Yeah, you're right, and it is a very big problem. It is a very big problem, and it's something that Israeli engineers have been fiercely trying to solve, and they are coming out with some technology, a lot of technology to try and disable the drones and to detect them and to control them, et cetera, et cetera. I know of a few companies alone that have done that, that are working on doing that. So this will be the problem for the day, but don't worry, because Israel's on top of it. They have their top people working on it. And like everything else, Israel will innovate itself out of this problem.
And then somebody's going to sell that technology to somewhere, and it's going to be used in a commercial area, and it's going to be
the Russians are going to buy it.
Exactly,
they need it.
exactly right. Let's shift our focus a little bit to talk about the politics in Israel. Israelis are alarmed over threats of political violence. Is this a realistic concern?
I don't think so. I think that at the end of the day, the Jewish people do not resort to violence. We're not a violent people. We are passionate, to say the very least, but we're not violent. And people can talk about it. The various sides love to bring it up because it demonizes the opposing side, but I don't think there's a risk of violence. I think that there is frustration in the market. There's a lot of frustration in the country right now, on both sides, and we'll see what happens in terms of how the election plays out. I think the healthiest thing going forward for the Jewish people and the Jewish state is to have a wide coalition that represents as many of the constituents and voters as possible, and I'm hoping that we get to that place, because the tensions are high. Do I see violence? No, I don't think that's going to happen.
Are we seeing responsible or more responsible behavior from politicians? I mean, surely this must be as you Americans would say, a bipartisan issue. Surely everybody here would have the same interest, which is to make sure that the people aren't ripped apart from the inside.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And using the word responsible and the word politician in the same sentence,
I get it,
is always a little bit
optimistic.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. But you're right, and there are going to be those leaders who love to grab headlines and make outlandish statements and crazy statements. But I think they're statements, and I don't think that they are, real threats to the system. I think that's likely not going to be the issue. But hopefully they will even heads. Hopefully our politicians will be even keeled, and calm heads will prevail, realizing that we need to govern the world and the country.
Has the issue around the Haredi protests, has that settled a bit?
For now, because they stopped arresting them. Because that'll do it. They've stopped that. I think that'll stop till the election, and the election will be the mandate for whatever party wins to deal with that problem long term. Right. So hopefully that will put that problem to an end. But it's the report came out a couple of days ago that Haredi enlistment was up 53% in 2025. That's dramatic. That's really good. Hopefully we can continue to get get good numbers and lower the flame of this problem.
Absolutely right. Yigal Marcus, thank you for that. Yigal is the director at Republican Overseas. He brought us the Israel report this morning. We'll be back with an Israel report tomorrow morning again at 7:45.
That Israel report was brought to you by the Blue Agency. Your Israel property is in good hands. Owning properties in Israel can be a great investment, but challenging to manage if you're based abroad. The Blue Agency will manage every aspect of your property, finding and vetting tenants, maintaining your property and getting it rental ready, negotiating contracts and collecting rentals, reporting back to you regularly. The Blue Agency has built a reputation for trust and confidentiality over 20 years. The Blue Agency, your Israel property is in good hands. Contact us at www.theblueagency.com.